how corny the Western genre is, it's kind of crazy to me that they end up producing some of the most fire shows. Like, no matter what. Like, don't get me wrong. I enjoy my occasional Clint Eastwood movie and or stock white man shooting up a bunch of other white people in the name of hard justice, moonshine, and contaminated water. So how do we solve the problem of making Westerns boring as shit? Put everything in the future and put everything in space. That's all you do. Studio and Sunrise thought the same thing and they locked in and gave us back-to-back bangers. And I'm gladly here to present a special tape that I found. A double feature. So without all that extra yapping and nonsense, I would like to present to everybody BBop Star.
Hey, you like Reese's Cups?
Definitely.
That peanut butter and chocolate. Hey, you like Reese's Cups? Special
Reese's Cups, definitely. That
Oh yeah, and it's going on at McDonald's. Observe the earth-shaking 99-cent big and tasty burger.
The first half of our story starts in a lone ship in the middle of outer space. Inside the ship is two bounty hunter niggas by the name of Jet Black and Spike Spiegel. If there's anybody who's familiar with having ore, which I hope is the people that watch my channel because I can't imagine being oreless, y'all know exactly who those niggas are. Like, it hasn't even been 5 full minutes and my nigga Spike is already standstill training like he's ready to box with Goku or something, bro. Calm down, it's not that deep. I can't even fully blame Spike for doing all that though, because it turns out that him and Jetta broke because after their last bounty, Spike fucked up a bunch of shit and he had to pay a bunch of people back, so they basically left empty-handed. Had that nigga on J. Cole and Humble Meals, man, that cannot be me. But right before Spike dies of starvation, Jet talks about a new job that he can do. Jet tells him about this nigga named Asimov who's wanted for 2.5 million woolongs. And his whole thing is that he backdoored his crew and ended up fleeing to Tijuana, and he had all types of shit on him. Like, you know, that shit that had Kodak Black pissing on himself. That nigga really pissed on himself, like that shit crazy as hell. Spike takes off to Tijuana to go get Asimov, and this is where the show starts. And this is where I start glazing because to call this shit a perfect first episode will be selling it short. Asimov's introduction does an amazing job of setting him up as somebody that's both dangerous and unhinged. With the way that he goes in the bar and everything goes crazy as a bunch of people pop in and start shooting over this drug, and it makes you wonder what is so special about it. And it's crazy because we literally see it. I'm gonna say this right now, cocaine for your optical is absolutely egregious. I figured that futuristic drugs would be crazy, but literally giving you some shit that is equivalent to Broly Boost for putting it in your eyeballs, and it makes you do that, bro. I can't imagine bringing that to the present. Like, low-key, imagine LeBron. Like, imagine LeBron off a red eye, bruh. Averaging 100 points, 20 rebounds, 20 blocks, and like 15 assists. They'll talk about him like he was the devil himself. Shit, they already talk about him like the devil right now. Oh, those demonic ritual shit, that's probably why I got 50K right now. But anyways, the character acting serves the plot just as well because everybody has so much personality, like way more than you would see out of your average anime. But it's Cowboy Bebop, so of course, like, you know, they're locked in. After a little bit more yapping exposition, we get to see Spike interacting with Asimov's girl for the first time. And I'm not gonna lie, that nigga started saucing up like shit. Alright, my fault for dick riding. My bad. But you gotta admit, you know, still in the groceries like that, it was kind of cool. It was kind of something. The cigarette magician shit was kind of clean though, so you know what, we can let him slide. Asimov cock blocks that nigga because he was trying to talk to his shorty and he chokes him out just for his girl to tell him to stop and leave him there. And after he wakes up, he already knows what he has to do. It's time for get back, nickel. He pops up on Asimov in the Uno Mas fit on the bench, and after doing a little bit of occasional ore farming, the two fight, and I'ma keep it a bean. This shit was fire. Bebop absolutely excels at dynamic character action. And when they fight, it's not like they're doing a million flips and maneuvers to try to get you to pop because everybody's moving around and doing this crazy impossible shit. It's all practical, but with the way that it's presented, it makes you feel like you want to go do that shit. Like every single time I see Spike fighting somebody, I want to go out on the street and drop somebody like I'm in a fucking Street Fighter 2 bonus minigame, real shit. A bunch of other niggas get involved that want the red eye, and Jet comes in to assist Spike, and it becomes a crazy all-out battle, and it's goofy in a really, really cool way, you know? It doesn't break the immersion. Shorty ends up getting shot by one of the airships directly in the belly, and it turns out that she was smuggling all of the red eye the whole time, so Asimov pretty much can't get his bricks off no more. Unfortunate. And at this point, Asimov is literally just going off of that red eye shit. Like, I'm talking like prime famous Dex. That nigga is geeking, like tweaking. They try to escape off the planet, and the feds and Spike are on their tail at the same time, and he was geeking so hard that Shorty just put him out of his misery. Like, that shit was kind of wow. I blame before he could even overdose off the fucking eye cocaine. Nigga died off the rocks like Cody Rhodes. The spacecraft that Asimov and the Shorty was in ended up getting shot, and she died because she ended up flying out of it with no way to breathe in space. And the episode ends with Spike contemplating what just happened as he looks forward to the next bounties, and so on and so forth. The ending is exactly why I fuck with Bebop and why I love the way that they format space westerns. Episodic continuity has to be like top 5 cheat codes when making any sort of media like ever. It allows the characters can go to place without it feeling jarring or feel like your time is being wasted because you're getting introduced to new things that come back later. But the places that they go to are not focused on so much that it feels like it's overshadowing the main plot and the characters, and it's just it's a masterpiece. It's masterful. And that foundation gets built upon with the introduction of Ayn in episode 2 and Faye in episode 3. Like, just constant bangers after banger after banger after banger. I know I said I've stopped dick riding, but man, it's Bebop, man. Fuck it. If I want dick, I'll take it. Alright. Let me stop fucking with y'all. But this show is fire though. Like, for real. But I keep on talking about high moments of aura. What about the writing? The writing literally is just as good as, if not flat out better than the high moments of aura. Like, it's actually insane. The weight of decision and consequence. Those are the main 2 focal points of the anime. Extremely simple in nature, but the way that they execute these concepts in relation to the characters and cast is so fucking good. And I think the best way to display that is to give the lore about Spike. As a member of the Triad, he was pretty much the universe's King Kong. He used to get niggas going, never cared about nobody, used to drop bodies left and right. That was the life he lived. But he met a woman, and over time he fell for that woman. And in order to be with her in a life that he wanted to live outside of his line of work, he had to fake his death and kill off his old self. But we see the effects of the life that he lived before come back to haunt him, both physically and in the world around him. Specifically his eye. He lost his eye after escaping the Triad and replaced it with a bionic one. His left eye being the past, and his right eye, which is his real eye, seeing the future. This concept is played with especially in episode 5, in the sequence where he meets one of his old comrades. In fact, his main partner in crime, Vicious. Vicious used to be a baby demon under Spike, because Spike was his OG in a sense. But after Spike left the game, Vicious felt as if he didn't deserve the life that he had. And if he wanted to continue to live, he would have to live exactly the same as him. But Spike didn't want that anymore. So he has nothing but hatred for Spike. And it's really good, especially the first interaction that we get between the two with an amazing line by Spike.
Even if it's coming from a man who took you in and made you what you are.
All it takes is one quote for you to start thinking about Spike and who he is and his intentions without it feeling like they compromised everything that they built up for him prior up until that moment. So when you get that quote, it sets a precedent for everything that's going to happen after, and it hooks you in just like that. The same could be said by characters that appear much later, like Edward, aka the motherfucking GOAT. If you look up the definition of childlike wonder and whimsy, she is the definition of that. Real talk. Her and Ayn serve to balance out the seriousness that's inside the crew and the cast in general, and because she's smart, we get to see somebody who is goofy, but they also are very useful because they have the brains to maneuver certain things that nobody else does. And every single time she's in the spotlight, we get nothing but hilarious moments. There's an entire episode that she has where it's a bunch of black people and it's parodying a lot of the 70s movies, and she has to do a drug bust with shrooms, and the whole cast gets off of, like, I can't even fully explain it. I'll leave that for y'all to watch. And now that I'm at here, I think it's time to put in some commercials, I'll say that, before we get into the second half, because the second half is something I feel like a lot of people haven't even seen before. So I'll get back to y'all.
Look at the motherfucking trash. We ain't really fucking with the gas. Hey, y'all ain't smoking on the gas. Niggas ain't smoking on the bus. Hey, niggas ain't going in the booth.
Throttle action of rescue heroes. After that, it's Babar, the most elephantastic king of Celestville, and all his kids. Then, it's that magical bear and his adventurous inventions. Rupert, only on...
私のリモコンはどこ？え？しらばっくれんじゃないわよ。どうしたの？何言ってるか全然わかんないけど頭打ったの？このバカだな！
The second half takes place way past Bebop, and we get to see that humanity has progressed way past the solar system, and we're all across the galaxy, and the age of bounty hunting is over. And now we're in the age of the outlaws. Our two main characters of the far future is a nigga named Gene Starwind. He has a really weird phobia of space, and he pretty much spends his time doing nothing but odd jobs with his little brother Jim. And Jim is pretty much Edward if Edward locked in 24/7. Lucki was afraid of hoes. I ain't gonna lie. While the Bebop section focuses on the past and consequences, the Outlaw section is more about youth and what it means to grow up and how that affects the people around you as well as yourself. This is conveyed through a dichotomy between Gene and Jim. Even though Jim is younger than Gene, he's much more responsible, acting as the adult between the two. And Gene, while being much older, is more immature and isn't really focused on doing things to keep himself in order. That is until his life is changed by an outlaw named Hilda. Is a character that's wrapped in confusion and loose ends, and even though she is mainly used as a plot device, her character for the short time that she's around is absolutely amazing in the context of the series and what it means for Gene and Jim. Hilda, in my opinion, represents the potential future that Gene could have for himself if he followed a path of reckless abandonment within his youth. Her past and what she's done has led to a life of danger, and we see that she finally corrects that order as she passes away and sacrifices herself for the sake of Gene and Jim's future. But that's getting a bit ahead of myself, so let me actually explain the plot of episode 1. We start out with Jim and Gene playing cards in the bar and vibing, you know, normal young nigga shit, just cooling. But what happens is that a nigga walks in, and apparently his name is Death Rob. First of all, I can never be killed by a nigga named Death Rob, and second of all, he was trying to get his get back. That shit did not work. Gene throws a couple shots at Buddy and he tries to put him in his blunt, and it seems that it works. But it turns out that Rob is actually a bio-android, but it really doesn't matter because Jim figures out his weakness, and all it is just doing the UK method and just slashing a nigga in his eye. Like, come on now. Nigga was fodder. Gene and Jim get a little bit of bread for smoking Rob, and after Gene goes out to get some hoes, we pan to what looks like Timu Robotnik scheming with like this random bitch. Like this random Kung Fu Panda antagonist. I don't know who the fuck this is. Fast forward, Gene and Jim end up meeting a woman who they take a job for. She needs a bunch of strange materials, and Jim doesn't really understand it, but they do the job anyway. It turns out that this woman was none other than Hilda, who was hiding in disguise from these pirates that were trying to kill her. And I'm not gonna lie, Hilda at first, backdoor season, was trying to get them gone. After a bunch of GTA RP nonsense, they go to this warehouse, and Gene and Jim basically have Hilda hostage after reversing the situation. Inside the little warehouse, there's a case, and Jim opens it after Hilda gives him a code, and inside the case is a woman. Before they can figure out anything that's going on, the little Furious 5 niggas drop down, and it's a standoff to make sure the woman wakes up before they all get killed, and the plot ends up progressing from there. Those Kung Fu Panda niggas pretty much have Patrick Mahomes blood ritual magic, so Gene, Hilda, and Jim are trying their best to escape them while the woman wakes up. After she wakes up, they escape and they go to Blue Planet, which is a refuge for outlaws outlaws and sort of a post/checkpoint. It's pretty much here that we learn that Hilda is ops with everybody because of some shit that she never explains, you know, stuff in the past, and there's a bunch of people that want to kill her. The Kung Fu Panda people, there's this pair of brothers called the McDougal brothers that are pretty much the mafia, and they move in silence, and the reason why they're after her is because of three things. The girl, who was Melfina, that's her name, a ship called the XGP, which is pretty much like a damn galactic wide body that nobody else has, and this treasure called the Galactic Ley Line, which is like this series equivalent of One Piece. But unlike the One Piece, it actually gets found because it's an actually good anime. Agenda pushing aside, they find the XGP just for the Kung Fu Panda niggas to slide on them because they caught them like it with a tracker because, you know, the Patrick Mahomes magic nonsense. And it ends with Hilda sacrificing herself so that Jean, Jim, and Melfina can escape. And the plot pretty much revolves around them trying to get to the ley line while they add new people to the crew and pretty much just live the life of outlaws, which is a good change of pace. It's not to say that the second half doesn't have any nuance or any substance or whatnot. It's just much straightforward than the first half. And this cast of characters is a lot more vibrant and expressive than the original. And by expressive, I mean animated in the sense that they are a lot more talkative, a lot more loud, they're a lot more exaggerated. They feel much more like traditional cartoon characters than the more human characters that we get in the first half with Bebop. And that's perfectly fine because they're trying to achieve two different things. And I think it works to the series' benefit. Bebop doesn't have a Jim or Aisha or a Sasuke. It doesn't have a Fred Lowe. Yo, that shit was crazy. For context, Fred is a weapons dealer that often talks to Gene and Jim, and he's pretty chill. It's just that he's a little bit, you know, which is perfectly fine until he moans in Gene's ear. I swear this happens. Like, I'll literally play it right now.
So, what's this business you've mentioned, huh?
It's my spaceship. I'm gonna need a...
Ah! It was just a joke. A joke.
Bro, why the fuck did he do that? Like, yo, why? The same can be said for its antagonist, like that weird clown motherfucker that was with the Kung Fu Panda people. Look at that nigga's face. You cannot tell me he is not #1 ranked in the Diddy Defense Force. Like, look at him. This is just chock full of casual quotables that just let you know that they are brimming with personality. And I'll play a couple of them here. It's just, you got no other choice but to laugh at some of the shit that they say.
Fine, you can call the sheriff now.
Gene! I was so scared.
Oh, Iris, it's okay now.
Huh, is that why you have your hand on her ass?
Breaking the rules if they don't go hand to hand. And Horus is too big for them. It's like...
What'd you just say?
Sorry, translator glitch. I mean, sharks ganging up on a whale.
Huh, whatever. I've never even seen a whale before.
Better not screw this up. I'm counting on you.
Well, well. What a shock. I never thought I'd see the day that you'd be cheering me on.
What I meant is returning the Master's love for you.
Oh, yeah, right.
And while I can go a lot more in depth like I did with Bebop, I don't want to, not because I can't, but Outlaw is something that you watch for yourself and just experience it as opposed to me telling you. Which could be the same for Bebop, but I feel like it's more liable to be explained. So, with that being said, let's wrap this shit up. Before I sign off, I want to thank all of y'all again for sticking with me to the end of this video. It's been fun yapping about both of these animes. If you want more shit like this, just let me know in the comments, you know what I mean? I'm trying to keep it consistent around here. But for those who have been watching the channel, it's time to sign off. I'll catch y'all in the next one, and as always, you know I do it the second time. Renzo out.